Welcome everyone to this lesson by Simplilearn over here, in which we are going to talk about the Git Merge Conflict over this one. Now we all have worked on Git and we know that Git is a very good version control system which we have all together. But how to resolve a problem which is known as Git Merge? Because during the developers check-in or do any kind of merge activity, this is a common problem which they face on daily basis. Now this is something which we are going to talk about in this, so that we can give an kind of an insight to all those developers and to other particular different people who are using the Git version control system here. Now what exactly we are going to talk about here? We are going to talk about what exactly is Git version control system. We are also going to talk about what exactly is the basic Git commands used in Git. And then we are going to talk about that what exactly is a merge conflict all about, and then the different type of merge conflicts which we encounter while doing any kind of merging or any kind of modifications, and then how to resolve these merge conflicts faced by a particular individual or a particular developer. And then the last one is that the various Git commands which is involved in resolving these conflicts. And then we will be going on with a small demo to better understand that how these conflicts can be resolved altogether, right? So let's first of all talk about that what exactly is a Git version control system. Now Git is a kind of a version control system which we basically used for storing a kind of source code there, which can be used for storing a source code of Java, .NET, Android, Node.js. Different kind of programming languages can be stored all together in this version control system. So in an organization, you will be having a full-fledged version control system known as Git. Now you may be having different projects, different repositories, multiple developers, multiple collaborators working on different projects. So it's a very extensive tool which is used by different developers, and in fact it is not only limited to developers. A lot of other people also exactly use this specific tool. Now the main task of using this tool is to perform a better coordination of the work here among the different people, among the different developers, and also to have a proper track of the particular progress of the specific project. So using the repository, you can see that over the period of time, you can do the tracking that how the different commits are happening here, how the different source code modifications are being done. So the complete status and the complete stats you will be able to get from this a kind of a version control system here. Now it's mainly used for source code management here in particular software development process or a particular team here. So it's a very important and in fact a key tool for any kind of development project. So the development cannot survive without having a Git version control system. Now Git favors both programmers and non-technical users. Now, if you are a programmer, definitely you will be using it for storing the source code and having those particular files, having some .NET source code, Java, or some particular source code present there. But in fact, if you're not a particular developer, if you're not a programmer, you are working as a non-technical job. So in that case, also you can store it for keeping your project files. Best example, a particular DevOps engineer can also use these repositories to store their version control systems, to have the scripts, Python scripts, shell scripts, configuration management tool scripts, any kind of automation scripts they can store, they want to have it, they can keep use of these particular version control system here. So it's not a dedicated tool for a particular developers. Anyone who wants to utilize the features of version control system can make use of this specific tool. In fact, it allows multiple users also to work together, so different people and different programmers can collaborate with each other with the help of this particular specific tool here. And it can also handle large projects. If you feel that you are working on a particular big project which is having multiple repositories, multiple projects are there. So in that situation, Git version control system will survive and will provide you a better performance in different aspects. So it's a very good tool for you to handle big big projects where you are involved with multiple changes, multiple programmers, multiple collaborators, and different kind of source codes. Now, what are the different basic commands which we use in Git to manage a Git repository? Now, first of all, the a very basic command of a Git over here is git config. Whenever we work with any kind of Git repository locally, when we do a Git clone and we manage or we do the modification to the Git repository locally there. So in that situation, we often have to provide some details like the username, email ID, so that whenever we do some kind of commits, the author details should be submitted according to that. So in that situation, we have the particular command called git config, which will definitely help us to do some configurations so that we will be able to have some configurations configured, and we will be able to have some author details or some additional parameters. So all those things we can configure using this git configure command here. Now, if you want to initialize a local repository, now you're not working on a remote repository and you want to initialize a local repository, in that case you can use the git init command in a specific folder, so that you can convert that a simple folder in a full-fledged git version control repository. So init command is used to initialize a local empty bare git repository. Next command is git add. Now git add command is used whenever we do any kind of modifications into my local repository. So that file will be present into the working area, into the working copy over there. Now the moment you run the git add command on couple of files or on an individual file, so what will really happen that all those files will be added to the staging area. Now why these files are adding to the staging area? So that at any moment of time when you run the git commit command, these files will be picked up from the staging area and will be preserved permanently into the git repository. So when you do git add command, it moves the files from your working copy to the staging area, and it will remain there itself unless and until you don't do any kind of git commit command further, so that these files from staging area will be permanently written off into the local repository. So it's a very important part that you run git add command before running any kind of git commit command. Now git commit command will only pick up those files which is present in the staging area. So if you have done modifications to 200 files or 20, 30, those kind of files there, if you do the git add command only for 5-6 files, so only those 5-6 files will be taken care in case of a particular commit. So you need to make sure that you select the desired amount of files before doing any kind of git commit activity. Right? Now next command which we have here is git diff command. Now git diff command is a kind of best tool which we have here, which really helps us to understand that how we can check the difference between two files, and in fact this git diff command can also be used to see the difference between two different branches also. So if you feel that if you have done some changes to the file to a specific content here, now if you want to see the difference between your particular head revision number and whatever the modifications you have done right now, so in that situation you can run git diff command. It will let you know that what the different kind of changes and modifications you have done. So if at any moment of time before doing any kind of commits, you want to do some kind of review, you want to see that what different changes you have done, so in that case you can go for the git diff command. So git diff command used to see the content, the difference or the modifications which you have done recently to the specific file. Right? And the last one we have already discussed, the git commit command, which commits the changes to the head revision number, and these commits are something which is stored locally, and you will not be doing the direct commits to the remote repository. So commit is something which is done into your local repository only. But yes, this is the last stage of doing a modifications here. Once the commit is done, it will directly modify your history, your Git repository history there, and the changes will be permanently preserved into the repository. So Git command is primarily used for permanently preserving the changes into your local repository. Right, so these were some of the commands there. Now there are some further commands also. Let's discuss about them. Now next command is git reset command. At any moment of time you want to do some undo activity for some local changes done to your local repository into your Git repository. In that case we can use the git reset command. Then next command is git status. Now git status command will show you the state of the working directory and the staging area. So both these area will be shown when you run the git status command. If you have done any kind of modifications to the working area, that will also be visible to you, and if you add some files to the staging area, that also will be displayed using the git status command. So git status command is very important because ultimately it let us know that how the different things and then how the different files are modified over here. Right, the next thing is git merge here. Now git merge is a very specific command which is used to move the changes from one branch to another. Now at any moment of time, if you feel that you are working on some other branch like develop branch or some other feature branch, and you want to move the changes from this feature branch to the master branch, so in that case you don't have to do the commits all together again in the master branch. All you can do is that you can go to the master branch and trigger the merge activity. So this merge activity will check what is the difference between the two branches, and whatever commits is missed out, it will also be synced back into the master branch. So git merge actively helps us to move the changes from one branch to another one. Next one is the git push command here. Now git push command will eventually help you to move the changes from your local to move the different commits from your local repository to the remote repository. Now in this case what happens that if you are working in offline mode, if you have done some couple of commits, now git push will help you to sync those commits back to the shared to the remote repository. Now these remote repository can be GitHub, Bitbucket or GitLab. That is a different story, but yes, all your changes will be synced or will be moved from your local repository to the remote repository. Right, and the last one is the git pull. Git pull is an opposite activity of push here. Now you might have seen that some other developers are also doing some check-ins or some push activity to the remote repository. Now if you still work on an old version of your source code, it may cause a lot of problem for you. So at frequent intervals you may have to pull the changes, or you may have to download some changes from the particular network or from the remote repository. Now once that is done, you will be able to see that those particular changes will be pulled down, and you will be pretty much able to do the you will be able to fetch and download the changes from the remote repository to your local repository here. So this is an activity which really helps us to understand that how we can pull some changes from the remote repository to your local repository, so that you can have the latest source code which might be pushed by some other developers or by some other collaborators, so that you can always work on the latest source code into your local system. So this is again a mechanism in which we are trying to see that what are the different git commands we can explore and we can utilize here to interact with the git repository. So this was some of the basic commands which we can use for managing the git repositories here. Now let's talk about that what exactly is a merge conflict. Now merge conflict is something which gets originated the moment we do some kind of merging activity. Now merging is a process in which we move some source code from one branch to another. Now all the developers cannot work on the same piece of branch there. So what really happens that in that situation, all the developers mainly work on some couple of branches and then they all collaborate to some other branch, or different developers try to push their changes from the local repository to remote repository. So in all these situations, the source code gets moved from one location to another. Now what happens in, as per this diagram, we have a remote repository over here. Now all we are trying to do is that we are trying to push some source code over here from a particular developer here. Now he is doing the pull and push activity, and this another developer is there who is also doing the pull activity here. So merge conflicts basically happens then. For example, this particular developer A is trying to do some push, right? So that push is almost done here, and when the particular developer V is trying to push the particular results or try to push its own content to the remote repository, he got a merge conflict, which means that his particular developer B merge activity is cancelled, is deferred here. Now it could be a possibility because of the changes on the difference on the two piece of source code there. So let's talk about that. Now, in order to prevent such kind of conflicts, developers usually provide it with the isolated branches so that they can work on their branches, and once the development is done, they can do a single merge and they can sync their changes into a single branch. So the git merge command combines separate branches and resolves any conflicting edits over there. So once the developers are done with the specific changes, with the modifications to the source code, later on they can combine those things, they can work on these components, and they can resolve all these conflicting modifications, right? So a merge conflict is an event that takes place when Git is unable to resolve the differences in the source code between the two commits automatically. Normally the Git is having the capability to understand that okay, these are the two different piece of source code which is getting pushed to a remote repository, but in any case it does not happens automatically. There is any kind of conflict which arises over there and Git is not able to take any kind of decisions, so in that situation we will be able to get a merge conflict. Now it could be a possibility that one merge can happen successfully, then the next merge will be cancelled and will be deferred due to this merge conflicts. So Git can automatically merge the changes only if the commits are on different lines or the branches here. So if at any moment of time you are diverting from the process, you are having some different lines of source code, so that is where the merge conflicts comes into the picture. Now what are the different kind of merge conflicts which we normally face? The main types of merge conflict is, first of all, there are 2 points where we can say that a merge can happen or can come into a conflicted state. The very first one is the started the merge process. Now, if at any moment of time there are changes in the working area or working directory, and we are moving or these changes are getting moved to the particular working area of the stage area of the current project. So during the merge activity itself, the particular merge will fail because there are some changes or there are some kind of modifications which is right now present over here in the working area. So in this case, conflicts happen due to pending changes. Now, for instance, you have done some modification to the changes. Now you were planning to do the commit, but before that you felt that I want to do some kind of merge. Now, since there are some pending changes which is available there into your working area, so what will happen that your merge will definitely fail there itself. So before even starting, before even initializing the merge, as in particular pre-check, your merge activity will fail there itself. So in that situation, you have to either remove those pending changes or you have to resolve those pending changes before even going for the merge activity. Second, during the merge process, definitely if you are getting some conflict, so the merge conflicts gets originated. So the failure during the merge process indicates that there is a conflict between your local branch and the branch being merged, right? So you're trying to move the changes from one branch to another. So it means that there are some particular conflicts which is coming up in the particular branch in which you are trying to do the merge. So in this case, Git resolves as much as possible. So if there is any kind of difference in the source code, in the commits and the different line of source code there, so Git automatically try to resolve it as much as possible. But at any moment of time, it's not able to do, it's not able to manage. In that case, a particular human interruption is required so that we can merge or we can resolve these particular conflicts manually there. So these are the two types of situations in which a particular merge can enter a particular conflicted area. Now, how to resolve these merge conflicts? Now, what happens that in order to resolve these merge conflicts, the simple way to do this is that we open the file which is in conflicted status. Now, once that is done, you do the required changes. Whatever source code you feel you want to proceed, you will select that source code, you will use that source code, and once the edition or editing of the file is done, so what you can do is that you can run the pretty much straightforward command called git add to add that file to the staging area. And then what you can do is that you can do the git commit activity so that the particular merge conflicts can be resolved and you will be able to see a merge here. Now this is something which is known as one of the best approach for resolving the merge conflicts, because even if it comes up, if Git is not able to handle it automatically and it requires for you to manage it manually here, so definitely in that situation we have to open the source, we have to select that which portion of a source code we want to keep, do the modifications manually, and then follow the traditional approach to perform a custom commit. So git add and git commit command you will be doing there in that situation to have a particular final merge executed all together. So this is the steps which we can follow to perform a custom to resolve a particular custom merge conflicts over here. Right now, the various git commands which we can use to resolve the conflicts here. Now, git log -- merge is a command which helps us to list down all the commits that are causing the particular conflict here. If at any moment of time your merge is failed down and you want to see that what are the different commits which is causing the issue here, probably you might be ignoring some commits which is not that much important, or you can manually overwrite the content so that those conflicts data can also be added, and whatever the changes you are trying to add, that also should be modified. Second command, git diff command, you can always use the to check the difference between the particular files between the repository. Git checkout is something which you can use to particular check out a file, so that if you want to check out the latest content of a specific file or a folder, so in that case you can make use of this git checkout command here. So git checkout command will definitely help you to understand that how we can go for or how we can do the checkout of this particular repository or a particular file here. Right, so then we have a command called git reset hyphen mixed. So git reset hyphen mixed is a command to undo the changes of to the working directory, and whatever the particular changes you have, so that will be undo there, and it will be able to do the undo changes to the working area and the staging area here. Now then we have git merge hyphen abort, which will be used in order to exit the merge process and return back to the state before the merging begin. If you're not able to resolve the merge conflicts manually also, so in that situation we will be aborting the merge situation or a git merge over here. And the last one is git reset. So git reset command is used at a time to of merge conflicts to reset the conflicted file, so that what we can happen that we can go back to the previous situation before even starting, or the state before the merge activity was started there. So git reset will eventually help me to reset all the files which is in conflicted area, and latest files will be checked out and will be replaced. So these are some couple of commands which we can actually use in order to resolve the merge conflicts into a Git repository. Now that was something which we were trying to understand, that what exactly the Git merge was there, and how the Git merge originated, and how the Git particular merge conflicts gets created, and how we can resolve it. Now let's go for a proper demo on this one so that we can understand it properly, that how exactly Git merge conflicts really work and how we can resolve it. Now this is the Git bash which we have installed to run some Git commands. Now in this one, first of all, I'm going to create two repositories. So I'm going to run the command called git init a, that will initialize a repository, git init b, that will initialize a b repository here. So two repository I have got, a and b. Now in basis a, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the remote. So git remote add origin. So I'm just trying to add the origin over here. So the origin over here in this one is the Maven build. So this is a repository which I have got into my GitHub account. The moment you do this, what next you can do over here is that you can run the particular next git pull command to fetch the latest updates here, right? So next, move to the particular next command here. Now when you do this, what will happen that all the changes which is present in the remote repository or central repository will be available here also, right? So you will be able to see some couple of files all together here. Now the same activity you have to do in the particular B directory also, or in the particular B repository also. So you have to add the URL, the remote URL here, and in this case also we are trying to fetch the particular values here. Now what will happen that we will be doing some modification in the particular A repository, and then we will be pushing that change to the remote repository, and then through the B, when we try to push the changes, so in that situation we will try to see that what really happens. Do we really get the merge conflicts? Because both of them, although is trying to do the changes to the central repository, but these two repository represents two different local repositories, probably in two different developers machines over here. So that's what we are trying to replicate here. So I'm going back to the A directory here so that I would be able to do some changes all together. So I'm just opening readme.md file here. So pretty much I'm just trying to add some particular changes over here to this particular file. So this is what we are trying to do here. Now let me add some particular additional and a particular new line over here in the file, and then save the content. Now once this is done, I will be able to see that yes, there is a particular change which is done all together here. So you will be running git add command and then git commit command to save the commits all together. So we are giving a particular commit here so that we will be able to identify that this is something which we have committed from a repo A. Now once this is done, I will be doing the push activity so that I can push these changes to the particular remote or the central repository here. So exactly what we did over here, so far we have a particular downloaded remote repository in a repository A, and then we are doing some changes, some modifications, and once those modifications are done, we are pretty much changing or putting up that new commit all together to the GitHub repository. So this is what we are trying to do so far over here in this one. So this git push activity will take the particular access, right? So when I do the particular push activity here, so if the credentials are saved, then that's fine. Otherwise it will ask for the particular username and password all together here. So that will be asked by the particular activity here. So it will ask for the password. So all you have to do is that you have to just share that password, and your git push activity should be passed on or should be done there. And as you can see, the changes really got moved to the GitHub repository. Now sometimes the credentials get expired, so you may get some particular message saying that you have to put some password there. A particular interactive window will be open there, and you have to prompt or you have to provide that password, and according to that it will proceed further, right? So this will eventually help you to move the changes into the GitHub repository altogether. So all of your changes will be pushed to the GitHub central repository, right? After some time, it really pushes my commits to the remote repository. It will take some time depending on the network connectivity and the kind of changes you are trying to upload. So now since my particular repository is done, so what I can do is that I can further go back to the particular directory here. Now what we can do is that we can go back to the beat repository over here, and in this case also I'm just trying to do some modifications. So for instance that I'm just trying to do the changes here to the readme file, again a kind of a changes in this one. Now in this case I'm trying to delete this line, the last line I'm trying to delete here, or a couple of modifications I want to do over here, like added data from repo, and then furthermost I want to have, let me do some arrangement, like let me have this data added all together over here, or I can add it. Yes, so data is added and this data is removed. So the idea is that we can do different kind of reshuffling of the data up and down so that we can understand that how it really works. So I have shuffled the data, I have removed a couple of lines, and let's see that how it works, right? So I have even added some couple of lines over here. In this new line I have added one line, I have removed from the last, and this particular line I have shifted 5-6 line up over here. Now let's me save this file and then run the git add command. After this we are going to run the particular commit here saying commit from repo B. Once commit is done, same activity, pushing it to the remote repository. Now let's see what really happens. Now when we are trying to push this particular change to the remote repository, after the change was pushed from repo A, it will throw an error saying that the particular, due to the conflicts, the updates are simply rejected here, right? So in this case what really happens, that because we are having a different stream of source code in a remote repository, and from local repository you are trying to push some different line of source code. So what next you need to do is that first of all you need to do the activity called git pull --rebase origin master. So you're going to pull the changes from the remote repository so that you should be able to get some particular content all together in this particular repo B over here. Now the moment you run this, let's wait for this activity. Now once that is done, you will be able to see that you are seeing a message saying that conflicts are there. So first of all you have to resolve these conflicts and then it will be proceed further. You have some couple of options, like you have to resolve the conflicts manually, and because git is not able to handle it. Otherwise, once the git conflicts is resolved, you can run git rebase or hyphen continue. If you want to skip this commit, so you can say git rebase hyphen skip. And if you want to abort the particular this rebase here, so in that case you can run git rebase hyphen abort. Now since we want to manage or we want to resolve this conflict manually over here, so what we need to do is that we need to open the merge tool on this one. So once you open the merge tool, from there you will be able to resolve those changes manually and then continue with the rebase. So let's go with the git merge tool here. So we are going to use the command called git merge tool. Now when you run this, so what will happen, that it will process, it will open the normal vi command line over here, and all the files will be processed all together. Now this is the modifications, right, which is which is done over here. So we are just trying to see that which particular file or what resultant file we want to configure here, right? Now in this case, since you are able to see that this is the final file which is present, and here exactly the merge conflicts comes up, because you can see that 3 different files are given to you in this side. So you have some files in which you added new 2 lines, and here you added this line there, this artifact will be there. Now here you also added this particular new line instead of having this line default here. So what exactly happens when you scroll down, you will be able to see that where exactly is the particular issue or what are the different modifications you've done there. So in this one, if you scroll up and down, you will be able to see that what exactly it happens. So the main area of conflict is first of all this area, So this should not be there as per Git, as per the normal file, but yes, if it is there, so we have to see whether we want to continue or we want to proceed with this particular specific file or not. So yes, so I will say that okay, let's remove this line. Let's not let's copy this line. Let's delete this line here and add the line over here in this one, and place this line also from here. So this is what I'm just trying to make use of here. Now here I just want to have the particular line pasted. Okay, delete it. So this line I will okay. So I have added this line in the final. I'm just trying to resolve this conflicts manually. I'm just editing this file here, trying to remove this one, this one, this one, and this one. So this is how my particular final file looks like, and I am good to go to this one. Now you have resolved the conflicts manually by doing the modification to the file. Now just press :WQ, save the file over here, and then close the other files also, right? So this is how I have done the modifications, and I should be able to continue further now. So what I'm going to do is, like, I'm going to run command git previous --- continue. Now once that is done, so the particular commit which or the modifications which you have got over here, so that is something which is totally done, and yes, the rebase is finalized over here. Now again, this is the manual modifications which you have done, so you should be good to go to push to remote repository. So again, in this case, what you're going to do is you're going to run like git push. Before that, if you want to check the particular git log, so you can check the particular git log over here. So the last commit which we were try to doing, like commit from repo B, is also available over here, right? So A and B, both changes are present now, so we should be able to push the changes to remote repository. So it will take some time to do the push. And as you can see, it's trying to put some content, so we'll still wait for the final confirmation so that we can assure that yes, all the conflicts is resolved. And yes, that's correct, all the particular conflicts are resolved, and we should be able to see both commit A and commit B into the repository. So let's go back to the GitHub portal and see that if we really got those particular commits in that. So let's, when we access our particular repository on GitHub, so we should be able to see that we have got an activity that the commit is checked in there. So if you go to the commits part, you should be able to see that you have got these commits gone process altogether. If you click on any one of the commit, you will be further able to see also that what different changes you actually moved. So this is the way that how you can resolve the conflicts, and you can take care of the changes from two different developers or for two different push activity. So that's it for this particular demo. I hope you liked it. Thanks everyone. So we are done with the demo, and we have understood that how we can resolve the merge conflicts with the help of some couple of commands. Now in this, we really have got an understanding that how the different ways of merge conflicts really gets originated, and how we can help or we can make use of some git commands to resolve those things. So this is what we had in this module. I hope you really like it, but in case you want to have any kind of more information, you can always visit www.simplilearn.com here. So thanks everyone for this particular module. I hope you like it. Thanks.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.